My aunt sold me to a Korean crime lord to pay off her debts, and when I stood shaking in his bedroom, ready to lose everything my father begged me to protect, he said 5 words that changed everything. Go to sleep, I won't touch you. Now, 3 weeks later, I'm engaged to him, wearing a ring worth more than my life, and his enemies just started asking questions about the black girl who made the untouchable man smile. Before we continue, besties, please don't forget to like and subscribe. This is your only way of supporting us, as we also promise to bring you interesting and hooking stories every single day. Also, tell me in the comments section where you are watching from and what time it is there. I want to know how far my story of love has traveled. He says he turned me into a weapon they can't afford to use, but the man watching me from across this ballroom looks like he's already calculating the cost. The dress was too tight. Nia could barely breathe as she stepped onto the Skyline Crown rooftop. Manhattan stretched out below her like 1,000 broken promises wrapped in gold. The wine-colored fabric cut into her ribs. The fake diamonds pulled at her earlobes. These heels weren't hers. Nothing here was hers. Stand up straight. Aunt Agnes hissed the words without moving her lips. Her nails dug into Nia's elbow, steering her past women who looked like they belonged in magazines. Women with real jewelry, real confidence, real everything. Nia was real too, real broke, real desperate, real out of place. Remember why you're here, Agnes whispered. Your uncle needs those pills. Econ has your passport. Your visa expires in 6 weeks. 6. You understand what happens if you mess this up? Nia understood. She'd understood since the night Agnes sat her down 3 months ago and explained what sponsorship opportunities really meant. Since the night Agnes stopped pretending this was about helping family and started tallying how much Nia owed. The rooftop was all glass and chrome. City lights bounced off every surface. A private event. Elite. The kind of place where people didn't ask how much things cost because they owned the things that set the prices. Nia's hands shook. She tucked them behind her back. A memory slammed into her. Lagos. 2 years ago. The hospital room that smelled like bleach and dying hope. Her father's hand, so thin she could see every bone, gripping her wrist. Nia, listen to me. His voice had been paper dry, cracking on every word. Promise me something. Your first love, your first kiss, your first everything. Don't trade them for survival. Don't let anyone take what should be yours to give. Choose for yourself. Promise me. She'd promised. Sitting there watching him fade, she'd promised. Now she was about to break it. This way. Agnes pulled her toward a glass enclosure at the center of the rooftop. The Legacy Suite. That's what the gold plaque said. Inside, a man stood with his back to them, hands in his pockets, looking out at the city like he owned it. Maybe he did. Ryan Seo, Korean American, 32. Power broker, that's what Agnes called him. Nia had heard other words. Fixer, connected, untouchable. The kind of man who could make your visa problems disappear, or make you disappear. A shorter man stood beside him, scrolling on a tablet. He glanced up as they entered. Nia Okoye, 23. Student visa dropped after 1 semester at Borough of Manhattan Community College. Currently working under the table at Sweet Grace Bakery in Elmhurst. Aunt Agnes Okoye is primary guardian. Uncle Kelvin Okoye has stage 3 kidney disease. Medical debt at $42,000 and climbing. Passport held as collateral by Econ Mensa, unlicensed lender operating out of... That's enough, Jin. Ryan's voice cut through the air like a knife through butter. Smooth. Cold. Final. He turned around. Nia forgot how to breathe. He wasn't handsome the way magazine covers were handsome. He was handsome the way sharp things were, beautiful, dangerous, and precise. His eyes moved over her face, her shoulders, her too-tight dress, not like he was checking her out, but like he was reading a book written in a language only he understood. The glass door opened again. More women entered. A blonde in a dress that cost more than Nia's rent. An Asian woman dripping in diamonds that were definitely real. They looked at Nia the way you'd look at a roach on a wedding cake. Mr. CO, if you'd like to review the other candidates, the event organizer began. No. Everyone stopped. Ryan's eyes hadn't left Nia. Send them home. The blonde laughed. It sounded like breaking glass. You haven't even spoken to anyone yet. She doesn't even know why she's here. Exactly. Ryan stepped forward. One step. That's all it took for the room to shrink. The legacy companion has been chosen. Everyone else can leave. Silence. The kind that rang in your ears. Agnes's nails dug deeper into Nia's arm. Not a warning. A celebration. The other women filed out, their heels clicking like angry drum beats. The organizer stammered something about protocol. Jin closed his tablet with a soft snap. And then it was just Nia. Standing alone in a glass box above a city that had chewed her up and spit her out 100 times already. Ryan tilted his head slightly. Do you know what you just agreed to? Nia's throat was dry. No. Good, he said. Neither do I yet. They didn't ask her name. The hotel staff moved around Nia like she was a mannequin, undressing her, running a bath. The water was too hot. She didn't say anything. One woman scrubbed her skin with something that smelled like roses and money. Another oiled her arms, her legs, her shoulders. They wrapped her in a silk robe that felt like wearing air. Expensive air. Nia stared at the marble ceiling. Her mind was screaming, but her body had gone numb. One night, Agnes had said before they left Queens. One night and you secure everything. The visa. The money. Your uncle's treatment. Don't mess this up, Nia. Don't you dare mess this up. But what was she supposed to do? How was she supposed to act? Nobody had given her a script for this. Her father's voice whispered in her head. Don't trade your first for survival. Too late, Dad. Too late. The bathroom door opened. A man in a black suit stood there. Not Ryan. The other one. Jin. He's ready for you. Nia's legs almost gave out. Jin didn't smile, didn't frown, just turned and walked, expecting her to follow. The hallway was long. White walls, soft lighting. Her bare feet sank into carpet that probably cost more than her life. They stopped at a door. Jin knocked twice, then opened it. Try not to trip, he said flatly. These floors aren't forgiving. Then he was gone. Nia stood in the doorway. The suite was bigger than her apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed the city glittering below. And there, standing at the glass with his back to her, was Ryan. No jacket, just a white shirt with the sleeves rolled up. Hands in his pockets. Close the door. His voice wasn't loud. Didn't have to be. Nia closed it. The soft click felt like a jail cell locking. He turned around, looked at her. Not in a rush, just looking. Like she was a puzzle he was trying to solve. Come here. Her feet moved before her brain caught up. She stopped 3 steps away from him. Closer. 2 steps. Take off the robe. Nia's hands went to the silk tie at her waist. They were shaking so hard she couldn't grip it properly. Her fingers slipped. Once. Twice. She wanted to cry. Wanted to run. Wanted to disappear. Ryan stepped closer, close enough that she could smell his cologne. Something dark and clean. Look at me. She couldn't. Nia, look at me. She forced her eyes up. His face was unreadable. Sharp jaw. Dark eyes that didn't blink. Have you done this before? Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. Answer the question. No. The word cracked in half. Something shifted in his expression. Not anger. Not disappointment. Something else. How old were you when your father died? The question hit her like a slap. What? Your father. The hospital in Lagos. How old were you? 21. Why does that? What did he ask you to promise him? Naya's breath caught. Her eyes burned. How do you know about that? Ryan didn't answer. Just waited. He made me promise not to do this. Not to give myself away because I was desperate. He said my first time should be my choice. Not survival. Not debt. My choice. The words hung in the air between them. Ryan stepped back, ran a hand through his hair. For the first time since she'd met him, he looked tired. Go to bed. Nia blinked. What? The bed. Go sleep in it. But I thought, I don't take what's pushed at me out of desperation. His voice was flat, final. I take what's given with understanding. You don't understand anything yet, so go to bed. Where will you? The couch in the office. He pointed to a door on the far wall. I'll be there. Lock the bedroom door if it makes you feel safer. Nia stood frozen. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Agnes said he'd take what he wanted. Everyone said men like him took what they wanted. I don't understand, she whispered. Good. Ryan walked toward the office door. Maybe that'll keep you alive longer. He closed the door behind him. Nia stood there in the silk robe, in the middle of a suite that cost more than her existence, feeling like she'd just failed a test she didn't know she was taking. She climbed into the bed. It was too soft, too big, too wrong. And for the first time since her father died, she cried until her throat was raw. They threw her out the service exit. Not literally, but the message was clear. Jin handed her a Metro card and a blank piece of paper, pointed to the elevator marked staff only, and walked away. No car. No explanation. No Ryan. Nia rode the train back to Queens feeling like a used tissue. The silk robe was gone. They'd given her back the wine dress. It smelled like shame and expensive soap. She replayed the night over and over. What did she do wrong? Was she supposed to fight harder? Cry less? Be prettier? Be different? Maybe she was too African, too dark, too broken. The apartment building looked smaller than she remembered. Grayer. She climbed the stairs with dead legs. The door was unlocked. Agnes was waiting in the living room, arms crossed, face like a thunderstorm. The slap came before Nia even closed the door. You stupid, useless girl. Nia's cheek burned. She stumbled back against the wall. One job. Agnes was screaming now. One simple job, and you couldn't even do that. Do you know what you've done? Do you know how much I borrowed from Econ to get you in that room? I didn't ask you to. You didn't ask. You didn't ask. Another slap. Harder this time. Your uncle needs medication. Real medication. Not the cheap trash from the clinic. We're 3 months behind on rent. Econ has your passport and now he wants interest. Interest, Nia. Because you couldn't keep one man happy for one night. Something in Nia snapped. I've worked double shifts for you for 2 years. Her voice came out like a roar. I sent money back home when I was eating 1 meal a day. I cleaned your house, watched your friends' kids, smiled while you called me charity case to your church group, and you still act like I owe you my body. Agnes raised her hand again. A knock at the door. Sharp. 3 times. They both froze. Agnes opened it. Her face went from rage to confusion to horror in 3 seconds. Ryan stood in the doorway, 2 men behind him. The cramped living room suddenly felt like a shoebox. "Mr. CO, we weren't expecting. Please, come in, I can explain." Ryan walked past her like she was furniture. His eyes found Nia against the wall, red mark blooming on her cheek. His jaw tightened. Jin, the man with the tablet, stepped forward, started reading in that flat, dead voice. Agnes Okoye held Nia Okoye's passport for 23 months without legal guardianship, borrowed $11,000 from Ekon Mensa using said passport as collateral. Uncle Kelvin Okoye's medical debt, $42,816. Current rent arrears, $4,200. Shall I continue? Agnes's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Ryan looked at her. Really looked at her. You didn't save her. You bought her. And now you're angry she didn't sell high enough. That's not. I gave her a home. I fed her. She owes me. She owes you nothing. The words hit like a gavel. Ryan pulled an envelope from his jacket, handed it to Jin. I'll pay everything. The medical bills, the rent. Econ's loan plus interest. All of it. Agnes's eyes went wide, greedy and bright. But there's a condition. Jin pulled out a paper, set it on the coffee table with a pen. You sign this. It's a legal termination of all claims, financial, familial, emotional. You are no longer her aunt. She is no longer your responsibility. You take the money. She takes her freedom. No more contact, ever. Nia's heart stopped. She looked at Agnes, waited for her to hesitate, to fight, to show even a tiny piece of love underneath all the bitterness. Agnes grabbed the pen, signed, didn't even read it, just scribbled her name and shoved the paper back at Jin like it was on fire. The money? She asked. Jin handed her a bank slip. From the bedroom doorway, Uncle Kelvin appeared. Thin. Sad. He looked at Nia with eyes that said, I'm sorry, but a mouth that stayed shut. Nobody fought for her. Ryan held out his hand. Let's go. Nia took it. Because what else was there? In the car, she watched Queens disappear through the back window, the only home she'd known in America shrinking into nothing. I just got sold, she whispered. Yes, Ryan said. But this time you know the price. The mansion didn't feel real. Stone and glass. Trees that looked like someone trimmed them with scissors. A pool that reflected clouds like a mirror. Nia stood in the driveway and felt like she'd walked onto a movie set. This way, miss. A woman in a gray uniform led her inside. The entryway was bigger than Agnes's entire apartment. Marble floors, a chandelier that probably cost more than a car. They took her upstairs, down a hallway with paintings that looked expensive. Stopped at a door. Your room. Nia stepped inside and forgot how to breathe. The bed was massive. White sheets. 4 posts. Windows that stretched from floor to ceiling showing gardens and sky. There was a bathroom attached, all marble and gold fixtures, a closet bigger than her old bedroom. The wardrobe has been prepared for you. Breakfast is at 8, lunch at 1, dinner at 7. If you need anything, use the bell on the nightstand. Then the woman left. Nia stood in the middle of the room. Silence pressed down on her like water. No traffic sounds. No neighbors yelling through walls. No sirens. Just nothing. She sat on the bed, pulled her father's Bible from her bag, the only thing she'd grabbed from the apartment. The leather was cracked, pages soft from years of his hands turning them. She opened it to Psalm 23, his favorite. He'd underlined it in blue pen. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Her throat closed up. She wanted everything, wanted her father back, wanted to understand why Agnes signed her away without blinking, wanted to know why Ryan didn't touch her when that's what everyone said men like him did, wanted to not feel so lost. The tears came hard, ugly crying, the kind that made her whole body shake. She buried her face in the pillow and let it out. All of it. 2 years of holding everything together. 2 years of pretending she was fine. 2 years of being strong. She cried until her eyes burned, until her head pounded, until she had nothing left. When she opened her eyes, the room was darker. The sun had moved. Hours had passed. A soft knock. "Miss Nia?" A young woman stood in the doorway. Early 20s, brown skin, kind eyes. She held a tray with food. "I'm Lila, your personal attendant. You slept through lunch, so I brought you something." Nia sat up. Her face felt swollen. "I'm not hungry." "You need to eat anyway." Lila set the tray on the bed. Soup, bread, fruit. Crying burns calories. Your body needs fuel. She said it so matter-of-fact that Naya almost laughed. "How long have you worked here?" Naya asked. 3 years. "Are you one of his women?" Lila smiled, sad but real. "No, I'm staff. There's a difference." "What's the difference?" "Staff get paid. Women get complicated." Nia picked up the spoon. The soup was good. She didn't realize how hungry she was until the first bite. "Can I ask you something?" Nia said quietly. "Sure." "Does it get easier? Living here? Feeling like you don't belong?" Lila sat on the edge of the bed, looked out the window. "I had someone once, back home in Virginia. His name was Evan. We were going to get married, had the date picked and everything." "What happened?" "His mom got sick, cancer. The medical bills came fast. He had to choose between saving her and keeping me. He chose her." Lila's voice didn't shake. She'd made peace with it. "I don't blame him. Sometimes survival makes you pick things you don't want to pick." "Do you still love him?" "Yeah, probably always will. But love doesn't pay bills. Doesn't keep people alive. So I'm here, making money, staying safe, adapting. I'm scared I'll become just another piece of furniture in his life," Nia whispered. Lila turned to look at her, really look at her. Men like Ryan are used to being feared, used to being obeyed. They're not used to being seen. She stood up, collected the tray. "If you ever want to matter to him, don't try to seduce him. Everyone tries that. Figure out how to see past the monster everyone else sees. That's the only way in." She stopped at the door. "Also, he doesn't keep furniture that talks back. So the fact that you're still here means something." The knock came at midnight. Not on her door, on her window. Nia looked up from her bed. A man in a black suit stood on the balcony. One of Ryan's security. He gestured down, toward the pool. Her stomach dropped. She put on the robe they'd left in the closet. Walked downstairs barefoot. The house was dark except for soft lights along the hallways, like a museum after closing. The pool glowed blue in the night. Steam rose off the water into cool air, and there, cutting through the water in clean, strong strokes, was Ryan. He saw her, stopped swimming, stood up in the shallow end. Water ran down his chest, his shoulders. No suit, no armor, just him. "Come in." "I don't know how to swim." "I know. Come in anyway." Nia stepped to the edge. The water looked like liquid light. She sat down, legs dangling in. The warmth felt good. All the way in. She slid into the water. It came up to her chest. The robe floated around her, clinging to her skin. She felt exposed. vulnerable. Ryan moved closer, not touching, just close. What do you think you're losing by staying here? He asked. What? Everyone loses something in my world. What are you losing? Nia's hands moved under the water, nervous. My promise. What promise? She told him some of it that first night, but not all of it, not the weight of it. Before my father died, I sat with him for 3 days, watching him fade. He couldn't eat, could barely talk, but on the last day he grabbed my hand so hard it hurt. Her voice cracked. She kept going. He said, Nia, listen to me. Your first love, your first kiss, your first time. Don't trade them for survival. Don't let anyone take what should be yours to give. Choose for yourself. He made me promise, made me say the words out loud. Ryan listened, didn't interrupt. I promised him, and now I'm here, about to break it because of debt and visas and all the things that shouldn't matter but do. Why do you think you're here? Ryan asked. To sleep with you. That's what everyone expects. That's what they expect, not what I expect. Nia looked at him, confused. Then why choose me? Ryan moved closer. The water rippled between them. In my world, virginity is a trophy, something men collect to prove dominance. Your aunt saw it as currency. Econ saw it as collateral. The city sees you as leverage. He paused. I see it as the last choice you have left. I don't understand. Men like me are supposed to take what we want. That's the rule, but I'm going to break it. He stepped even closer, close enough that Nia could feel the heat coming off his skin. I will not touch you, not the way you're thinking, not while you're here because of debt, not while you think you owe me, not while breaking that promise would destroy something in you. Nia's heart was pounding, but Agnes said, I don't care what Agnes said. I don't care what anyone expects. His voice was steel. You want to know my condition? My only condition? She nodded. If I ever take that from you, it will be because you looked me in the eyes and chose me, not because you're scared, not because you're desperate, not because you think you have to. You break that promise for yourself, or you don't break it at all. The words hit her like a wave. You're protecting my promise? Her voice was barely a whisper. I'm protecting your right to keep it, or break it on your terms. No one else's. Nia felt something shift in her chest, like a locked door creaking open. Why? Ryan's expression didn't change, but something in his eyes did. Because the moment you choose me out of fear, I become every other man who took something from you, and I refuse to be added to that list. He moved back, put distance between them. Now get out before you catch a cold. Nia climbed out of the pool. Water streamed off her. She looked back at him. He was watching her with an expression she couldn't read. Thank you, she said. Don't thank me yet. This just got a lot more complicated. The conference room was all glass, 40 floors up in Midtown, Manhattan spread out below like a game board. Ryan sat at the head of the table, suit sharp, face blank. Jin stood behind him with the tablet. Across from him sat Victor Maldonado, 50-something, silver hair, smile like a knife. 3 lawyers flanked him, all expensive suits and dead eyes. Let's cut to it, Victor said. The Brooklyn Project. 12 blocks of prime real estate. We clear out the current tenants, build luxury condos, triple the property value. Everyone wins. Everyone except the 2,000 people you're evicting, Ryan said. Victor laughed. They're renters, month to month. They have no claims. They have lives. Since when do you care about lives? Victor leaned back. Come on, Ryan. You're not exactly running a charity here. This is business. Cold, hard, profitable business. Ryan's expression didn't change. Here's my counter. You build the condos. but 30% of the units stay affordable housing. Current tenants get first option. Subsidized rates locked for 15 years. The lawyers started talking all at once. Victor raised his hand. They went silent. That kills the profit margin. No, it cuts your profit margin. There's a difference. And if I say no? Ryan smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. Then the construction permits get delayed. The zoning board finds issues. Your investors start asking uncomfortable questions. Projects like this need cooperation. I can provide it, or I can make it very difficult. Victor's jaw tightened. You're playing saint now? I'm playing chess. You're playing checkers. One of the lawyers whispered something to Victor. He nodded, looked back at Ryan. Fine. 20% affordable. 10-year lock. 30, 15, 25, 12. Ryan considered. Deal. They shook hands. Victor's grip was too tight, trying to prove something. As everyone started packing up, Ryan's phone buzzed. Never checked his phone during meetings. Never. But his hand moved before he thought about it. 3 messages. All from Nia. Are you okay? I know this is stupid, but I just wanted to make sure you're alive. It's not that I miss you or anything. I just need to know you're not dead. Something shifted in Ryan's face. Just for a second. The corner of his mouth lifted, not the business smile. A real one. Small, but there. He locked the phone, looked up. Victor was watching him, eyes sharp, calculating. Something funny? Victor asked. No, just a reminder I need to handle. Must be important. I've never seen you check your phone mid-meeting. Ryan stood. We're done here. Jin will send the contracts. He walked out. Jin followed. But Victor stayed in his chair, watching the door close. One of his lawyers started talking about clauses and timelines. Shut up, Victor said. He pulled out his own phone, dialed. Marco, I need you to find someone for me. A girl. Connected to Ryan Seo. I don't have a name yet, but she's the reason he just smiled during a business negotiation. Which means she's important. Which means she's leverage. He hung up, looked out at the city. Everyone has a weakness, he said to no one. Even the quiet storm. Back at the estate, Nia sat on her bed, staring at her phone, regretting everything. Why did she text him? What was she thinking? He probably thought she was desperate. Clingy. One of those girls who caught feelings too fast. She wasn't catching feelings. She was just checking. Making sure he was okay. That's what people did. Normal people checked on each other. Except they weren't normal. And this wasn't a normal situation. She threw the phone across the bed, buried her face in her hands. I'm an idiot, she whispered. Outside her door, one of the security guards made a note on his shift log. Everything routine. Nothing unusual. He didn't know that 3 hours away, a man named Marco was already pulling surveillance footage from the Skyline Crown rooftop. Already running facial recognition. Already building a file on the girl in the wine-colored dress. The net was tightening. Naya just didn't know it yet. Ryan came home at 2 in the morning. He should have gone straight to his office. Should have reviewed the contracts. Should have called his people about the Victor situation. Instead, his feet carried him to Nia's door. He stood there for a full minute, hand on the doorknob. This was a line he didn't cross. Private spaces stayed private. That was the rule. He opened the door anyway. She was asleep, sprawled across the bed like gravity had won. One arm hanging off the edge, hair everywhere. Her phone was next to her hand, screen dark. The moonlight through the window turned everything silver and blue. Ryan sat on the edge of the bed. Careful. Quiet. He looked at her. Really looked at her. When she was awake, she was all sharp edges and defense. Asleep, she looked younger, softer, like the girl she probably was before the world got its teeth in her. He reached out, brushed a curl away from her forehead. She murmured something, shifted. Please, Ryan froze. Please don't make me break it. Her voice was thick with sleep, slurred. I promised him I'd choose. Not them, not the hunger, not because I'm scared. Me, my choice. Her hand moved, searching for something that wasn't there. You came back, she whispered. I knew you would. Ryan's chest tightened. She was talking to him, in her sleep, with no walls up, no fear, just raw truth spilling out like water through cracks. He stood up, backed away from the bed like it might explode. In the hallway, Jin was waiting. Of course he was. Jin was always waiting. Victor's people are asking questions, Jin said quietly. About the girl in the wine dress. They're pulling footage, running searches. Marco's on it personally. How close are they? Close enough. They know she exists. They don't know where she is yet, but they will. Ryan looked back at the closed door. How long? A week. Maybe less if they get lucky. Then we don't give them a week. Jin raised an eyebrow. What are you thinking? I'm thinking hiding her makes her a target. Shadows are where men like Victor hunt. So we do the opposite. Which is, we make her so visible that touching her becomes a declaration of war. Jin was quiet for a moment. You're talking about the gala. Yes. That's in 3 days. I know. You're going to announce her. Publicly. Yes. As what? Ryan turned to face him. As my fiancé. As a beneficiary of 40% of my legitimate holdings. As someone whose suffering becomes more expensive than it's worth. Jin's face stayed neutral, but his eyes widened slightly. That's not strategy. That's a nuclear option. It's the only option that keeps her alive and her promise intact. Or it paints an even bigger target on her back. Then I'll deal with it. Jin studied him. This isn't just about protection, is it? Ryan didn't answer. Didn't need to. She got under your skin, Jin said. Not a question. She texted me today, during the Victor meeting. Asked if I was alive. Said it wasn't that she missed me. She just needed to know I wasn't dead. And I smiled. In the middle of a negotiation. Victor saw it. That's how we got here. Jin sighed. You know what you're doing is insane, right? You're tying half your empire to a girl you met a week ago. A girl who doesn't even understand your world yet. I know. And you're doing it anyway. Yes. Why? Ryan looked back at Nia's door one more time. Because she's asleep in there talking to me in her dreams. Telling me not to make her break her promise. Trusting me to come back. And no one has trusted me with anything real in 10 years. He walked toward his office. Set up the gala announcement. Make sure every major player is there. Victor included. I want witnesses. You're going to regret this, Jin called after him. Probably, Ryan said. But not as much as I'd regret letting her disappear. The emerald dress fit like it was made for her. Because it was. Nia stared at herself in the mirror. The girl looking back didn't look like someone who'd scrubbed bakery floors 3 weeks ago. She looked like she belonged at a charity gala in downtown Manhattan. She hated it. Breathe, Lila said behind her. In through your nose, out through your mouth. I can't do this. You can. You will. What if I trip? What if I say something stupid? What if you stop thinking and just walk? Lila adjusted the dress one last time. This isn't a sacrifice. It's a statement. Remember that. A knock. Jin opened the door. It's time. Nia's legs almost gave out. The ballroom was packed. Chandeliers, round tables covered in white cloth, people in suits and gowns that cost more than cars, cameras everywhere. On stage, Ryan stood at a podium, calm, controlled, speaking about youth programs and community centers and second chances. The crowd ate it up. Some believed it, some pretended to. Nia watched from backstage. Her heart was trying to break out of her chest. "We all have stories," Ryan was saying. "I grew up in apartments where the heat didn't work in winter, where the closest thing to after-school care was the street corner. Programs like the ones we're funding tonight kept me out of jail, kept me alive. That's why I'm here." Applause. Polite, calculated. Then he stopped, looked out at the crowd. "There's been talk about my next moves, business, personal. People love to speculate." The room went still. This wasn't in the script. "So let me clear it up." He looked toward the stage entrance, directly at her. "Nia, come here." Every eye in the room turned. Lila gave her a gentle push. "Go." Nia's feet moved. One step, then another. The stage lights hit her like a wall of heat. She could feel every stare, every judgment, every question. She stopped next to Ryan. He didn't touch her, just looked at her, then back at the crowd. "This is Nia Okoye, 23, from Lagos originally, Queens more recently." His voice was steady, matter of fact. "As of tonight, she's my fiancé." The room exploded in whispers. Nia saw faces, shock, confusion. A blonde woman in the third row looked like she'd swallowed glass. An older Asian man was already on his phone, and there, near the back, a silver-haired man in an expensive suit. Victor. His face was stone, but his eyes were calculating. Hunting. "I know what you're thinking," Ryan continued. "She's young. She's not from our world. She doesn't fit the profile." He paused. "You're right. She doesn't. That's why I chose her." He pulled an envelope from his jacket, handed it to Jin, who opened it and held up papers. "Effective immediately, 40% of my legitimate business holdings are being placed in a trust. Under her name." The whispers turned into actual noise. People weren't even trying to be quiet anymore. Any attempt to harm her, coerce her, or use her as leverage will be treated as a direct attack on those interests, and we all know what happens when people attack my interests. The threat hung in the air like smoke, but Ryan wasn't done. "One more thing." He turned to face Nia fully now. "Our relationship has conditions. Physical conditions. I will not touch her in any intimate way unless she explicitly asks me to. Not because of obligation. Not because of debt. Because she chooses it." Someone in the back laughed nervously. Others looked confused. "You can call it old-fashioned. Call it weakness. Call it whatever you want." His voice cut through the noise. "But in a world where power means taking what you want, I'm choosing to wait for what's given freely." He took Nia's hand, slid a ring onto her finger, emerald, surrounded by diamonds. "Welcome to the family," he said quietly, just to her. The applause came, slow at first, then building. Cameras flashed. Nia stood there, ring heavy on her hand, feeling like she'd just been marked, claimed, protected, and exposed at the same time. Victor was still watching. He brought his hands together slowly. Clap, clap, clap. His smile was all teeth. As they walked off stage, Nia leaned close to Ryan. "You just made me a target." "I made you too expensive to touch," he corrected. "There's a difference." "And if someone decides the cost is worth it?" Ryan's hand tightened on hers, just slightly. "Then they'll learn why people call me the quiet storm. The terrace was empty. Just Naya and Ryan and the city lights below. The gala was still going inside. Music. Laughter. People pretending they weren't already on their phones spreading the news. Nia leaned against the railing. The ring caught the light every time she moved her hand. "You turned me into a weapon," she said. Ryan stood a few feet away. Jacket off, tie loose. "Yes." "Without asking me?" "Would you have said yes if I asked?" She thought about it. "No." "Then I didn't ask." Nia turned to face him. "Is this real? The engagement or just a shield?" "Both." "That's not an answer." "It's the only answer I have." Ryan moved closer. "In my world, the only people who stay safe are the ones whose suffering costs too much. I made your suffering expensive." "And the other part? The fiancé part?" He was quiet for a moment. "That's complicated." "Uncomplicated. I don't do complicated emotions. I do strategy, control, clear lines." He looked at her, really looked at her. "Then you showed up, and nothing's been clear since." Nia's heart was doing that thing again. The pounding thing. "Everyone expects me to break my promise now," she said quietly. "Now that I'm tied to you. Now that I have your ring. Your protection. Your money. What do you expect?" "I don't know anymore." Her voice cracked. "I made that promise when I thought I had control over my life. Now I don't know what I control. If I break it now, am I choosing? Or am I just giving up?" Ryan stepped closer. Close enough that she could feel the heat from his body. "Listen to me. You break that promise or you keep it. Either way, it's your decision, not mine, not Agnes, not your father's ghost, yours." His voice was steel. "I told you in the pool. I'm not taking that from you. Not while it's tied to obligation. So yes, you're engaged to me. Yes, half my empire is pinned to your name. But that line? The one your father drew? That stays exactly where it is until you erase it yourself. And if I never do? Then you never do. And I'll deal with it." "Why?" The word came out desperate. Confused. "Why protect something that makes your life harder?" "Because the second I take it out of fear or obligation, I become every other man who stole something from you, and I refuse to be on that list." Nia felt tears building. She blinked them back. "I don't know how to exist in your world." "Good. Because the moment you know how, you'll start becoming someone else." He reached out, tucked a curl behind her ear. "Stay confused. Stay uncomfortable. Stay you. Even if that makes me weak." "You walked into a room full of predators tonight. Wore my ring. Stood in front of cameras while people tore you apart with their eyes. And you didn't break." His thumb brushed her cheek. "That's not weak. That's the strongest thing I've seen in years." The moment hung between them. Heavy. Charged. Then Ryan stepped back. Put distance there again. "Get some sleep. Tomorrow we deal with the fallout." He walked inside. Nia stood on the terrace, alone. The ring felt like a handcuff and a shield at the same time. Miles away, Victor sat in his apartment. Photos spread across his desk. Nia at the gala. Nia leaving the hotel. Nia in Queens outside Agnes building. His phone rang. Marco. "I found her history. Father died in Lagos 2 years ago. Uncle's sick. Aunt basically sold her. She's got nothing. No leverage, no power. Just Ryan's protection." "And family back home?" Victor asked. "A mother. 2 younger brothers. Village outside Lagos." Victor smiled. "There's always a weaker link." He hung up, pulled out a fresh file, started writing notes. If he couldn't touch Naya directly without starting a war, he'd touch everything around her until she broke herself. In her room, Naya turned the ring on her finger, thought about Lagos, about her father's hand gripping hers. Choose for yourself. She'd made the promise. Now she had to figure out if keeping it was strength or fear, and whether the man who protected it was her savior or just another cage.